A friend of the Fitz and Wit show, Devontae Adams there. Andrew Whitworth is here, three-time Upper Tackle. Loved the interview with my guy, Adams. This offense looks crazy. Happy birthday to your co-host, by the way, 43 years old for Fitzy.
Birthday, man. Happy birthday, Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, baby.
What are you getting it?
You know what? That's
A
a tough one
headlock?
for him. Probably a Guinness. He's a big Guinness guy. I'll get him a fresh. It's got to be on tap though, so I'll get him a nice Guinness when we get to town this week.
I love that. Well, Devontae got the Fitz and Wit magic. He had like that little bump that we say. He goes on a podcast and he absolutely crushes it. Of course, he's been doing that all season long. What was your takeaway yesterday? I just talked about it for 10 minutes. Like, it's the Rams and everybody else. It's kind of nice to have an undeniable best team ever. Like, if I went on the streets of New York right now and asked 100 football fans, I think they'd all agree for the first time maybe ever that universally it's the Rams and everybody else.
Yeah, you know what? That was one of those performances you want to see because sometimes after big games, when you have one like they had against Seattle, you kind of see a letdown in a team. And for them to come out and play to that way, I think it really speaks to how good of a football team they are in the sense that it's really balanced. I mean, everything they do, defensively, offensively, they are really strong on both sides of the football. And I think for me, it was a lot of fun, Kate, because you can imagine on Thursday night, we had a little bit of a debate in post game about who the best team in the NFC was, and I had to listen to Sherman Fitz talk about the what ifs of the Seattle Seahawks, but there's no what ifs with the Rams. They are who they are. They came out with another great performance against a really good football team in the Bucks, and I think right now it's hard to argue that they're not the best team in the NFC. And you know what? I'd probably say they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Ooh, you're looking very cozy, very Christmassy. We love it. And we have seen together, you playing, me being a fan, we've seen Stafford put together this Hall of Fame career, right? A Super Bowl win. I don't know that we've seen this level from him. The touchdown, interception ratio, all of that. He's really on another level. What looks, I can't say different because he's already a Hall of Famer without it. But what do you attribute this incredible performance to?
I think sometimes as you play longer, I really do believe this when you talk to a lot of veteran guys who kind of hit that stretch at the back end of their career and you end up somewhere where you're really happy, you're in a great culture and environment, and you kind of find your vibe. And I think that Stafford has found his kind of groove that he's in. He's confident in his football team, his head coach, the guys around him. His girls are growing up. Him and Kelly are raising kids. I just think he's settled, and so he's like, man, this is my rhythm week in and week out, year long. I'm going to be getting ready to be the best quarterback possible every week. And I'm just so grateful to even get to be here. You think of what he went through in Detroit. You think of some of the seasons that he fought through to be here in LA, to have a great football team and feel like every single week, if they go out and play their best, they can win. I think that puts you in a headspace where you're like, man, this is about to be fun. I'm about to go wing it and just play my absolute best. There's no stress. There's nothing for me to worry about. Go out here and try to cap the back end of my career and possibly get me another Super Bowl. And I think that's the mindset he's in is what does it look like every single day to just chase another opportunity to sit on top of the world as a champion.
And he's healthy. They're healthy. It's like,
hey, listen, he pulled it over on us in camp. Listen, even I was nervous. I played golf with him in the off season, and it's just, man, I was nervous. I was like, man, wait, maybe he's not telling me something and something's going on. But he's feeling good. Him and Devontae, obviously, it took a little bit there at the beginning of the year for them to find their vibe, and now they've got it. And listen, Devontae's not going out there and just scoring touchdowns, Kay. I mean, the guy goes out and he loves the game of golf. I went out with him here recently. The guy was even par after 9 holes. He's not just dominating on the football field. The guy is getting better and better at golf. He's just a freak athlete. Let's be honest. I don't even understand it. I couldn't play golf during the season. He can walk out, play around the golf, go on a Sunday, catch a couple touchdown passes, and do it all over again next week.
Stop by the Taco Bell, do all of that. And he's helping, I think, Stafford. I mean, he might be not the difference, but I'm sure he's added to what this incredible season's been. I mean, Stafford literally has 27 straight touchdowns without an interception. He's tying Brady for the longest streak with that. He's the MVP favorite. When we think about his legacy, Hall of Famer, we know that. What does an MVP mean? We're saying, like, because it almost seems like he's playing with house money or something, what you're saying. Like, he's settled, he's good, he doesn't have to prove anything. But he's never gotten an MVP. That would be pretty cool for him.
You know what? I look at it, Kay, is it's less about his legacy as much as I think he deserves it. I mean, I think when we
Mm.
talk about a guy who, I just think it'd be so cool to see him get it because of what he went through in Detroit. You think of the seasons there that we've seen all the clips, like when he plays through the injuries and really just seasons where sometimes they didn't have a chance to compete, but they were going to go out and be their best as they could be. And then you get to LA, you get this opportunity. He seized it. He's continued to thrive and really even find even better versions of himself as far as just continuing to put together winning performances. And he continues at the same time to be the chillest, coolest dude ever. I call him the John Wayne of quarterbacks, man. He's just like the baddest cowboy in the bar who doesn't need to impress anybody. And that's just who he is. And so I just think for me, it's about when I say deserve it, like this dude's had a career that deserves to be, honored. And I think that it would be so cool to see him get that MVP because I think it's something that really puts him on a pedestal with guys that he should be on. And I think it puts him in his rightful place.
Beautifully said, and I hope he gets it. It would be very, very cool, and one for the old guys. Love that for him. The
Always. No,
Chiefs.
I'm always fighting for the old guys.
The Chiefs, I don't know what to think of them. I almost took the bait. I almost was like, I just feel like they can't get up. Like, if you can't get up against the Broncos and the body language, I was like, I don't know. I don't think this is their season. And now, of course, yesterday, they hold Indy's number one ranked offense to their worst total yardage of the year. And Patricked in the fourth quarter. In your eyes, what did this performance do?
Well, I mean, most of the time I'm just used to the Chiefs making me look stupid in November and December because every year I feel like I sit here and say that this is the year, it's somebody else's time. And then this is what they do. They go out and they put performances like this together. And then you start looking at the standings and you go, wait, these guys have an exact path to just get themselves in the playoffs and make another one of these runs. And that performance yesterday, again, having their best players step up when they need to, you felt their impact and you felt like, hey, when it came to closing time, to me, what you really saw that second half, that looked like playoff football. And it looked like, hey, everything's on the line. We're fighting for everything for our season in this moment, and they go out and shut down the Colts offensively. Hold them to at least first downs all season. It's one of those vintage Chiefs performances that they seem to be able to find a way to just replicate week in and week out when we get to this time of year. But the biggest problem for them has been the inconsistency, and it's been the start. I keep saying that. Anytime you start where they did, you're just behind. So they are still up against the wall here where there's not a lot of room for error. So they got to put these performances together to finish the season now to get themselves a chance to go compete for that Super Bowl.
Do you think they'll get in?
I think they will just because they seem inevitable. It just seems like, when we get down to this part of the year, it's the same argument I made when we were talking about Seahawks Rams, is that it's nothing against Sam Darnold. He's been awesome this year. But when we get to this time of the year, it just feels like find the quarterbacks that you trust the most. And it's those teams just seem like they end up with those chances to go compete for Super Bowls. And so, I believe that Patrick Mahomes will find a way to put them in position to go compete for a Super Bowl. Do I think that they're a Super Bowl team this year? I'll say it again and probably be wrong again. I don't. I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think they're going to win it. But you know what? They've proved me wrong many years in a row. So, it might happen.
It's great analysis. I don't quite know what to do with them, but I always sense when I'm saying something almost negative, like I'm going to be clipped and played
Yep.
somewhere. Like you kind of just know it's like, oh, this isn't going to end well for me. There's some sort of
It's like
guttural.
when every person on the panel picks the one team. You know that the
Yes,
other team's winning, and you're going to get cooked. And you know what? It is what it is.
it
I got to
is.
say, but it's going to.
Andrew, it's so, so true. We have Ocho Cinco joining the show in a bit. I'm sure he'll want to pop on and say hi to shared some seasons, several of them, of course, in Cincinnati. I want to ask about the Colts. I like the Colts. Of course I do. They're a great story. The run game, all of that. But in these three losses that they have, if I could just put up three fingers instead of two for 1 second, in these three losses this is the concern. Jonathan Taylor's averaging 60 rushing yards per game in these losses compared to 127 a game in wins. So Spag stops him. They can't win. That's what it seems like. How do you remedy that to be better in
Yeah,
these games when
that's
defensive
been my
coordinators
biggest concern.
take him away?
Yeah, that's been the concern because you look at it even when you have those conversations, you start to try to stack the AFC and say who's good and who's not, and who you think you believe in to go make that run. I think that's the reason the Chiefs are in it because if we look at all those top teams up there, if it's Indy, if it's Denver, if it's New England, you've also seen some really like, hey, they've played great football, they've played great defense. There's been some great balance between who they are as a football team. But then we've seen some performances offensively where you go, wow, what was that? We forget even as good as New England is, and they're sitting there atop the AFC, they lost to the Raiders and Steelers early in the year, in bad losses. And so you start to go, man, who is it that you trust in that big game in that moment to create those explosives and to have those opportunities? I mean, the Chiefs can do that as good as anybody. And that's why it scares you the most if they get in, because I think that you look at Indy in these losses and they haven't been able to run the football. That's why I still think even though Buffalo getting killed by the Texans on Thursday night in our game, they still have a
Mhm.
shot. They have Josh Allen. And if you say in 1 3 hour window, we just got to go stop Jonathan Taylor and we can beat the Colts, because clearly if you can stop him, it seems like that's the recipe for how you beat the Indianapolis Colts. If you can not let Jonathan Taylor hurt you, you can beat him. And so I think to me, you start to look at it and you go, man, in the AFC, I truly believe it's one of those years that I don't think there's any true dominant team. And so I think that anybody that gets in has a shot. And if they're hot, they got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And I think it's similar to, we've seen some years where you think of the Giants Super Bowl when they didn't have a great season and they were just on fire when they got to the
Right.
playoffs. I think we find the team that gets to the playoffs in the AFC that's playing the best on offense and is the hottest at that moment. They have as just as much a chance as anybody else.
Uh, Gosh, it's so wild to think about. I mean, I feel like Daniel. I mean, just looked right now. Daniel Jones still top five in passing. It's not like he's not making plays happen when they do bottle up Taylor. It's just when they're not playing complementary football, it's just not working. And it is so exciting because everybody just gets a beautiful piece of what could be a wide open AFC, especially with the Chiefs looking like they do. I want to ask you about these Eagles. So I'm watching this game. I'm at the airport in Detroit, and I'm like, oh man, Eagles rolling, best team ever. And then by the time I get Wi-Fi on the plane, it's completely shot to hell. Like, and it was crazy. And I would like to ask you about Saquon Barkley and this run game, because it was a season low 22. He said he's in, I don't know if the words were a funk or he's pretty demonstrative after the game. What's up with their run game? Why are they having so much trouble right now?
Yeah, it is interesting. I was in the same boat, Kay. I was with AD, got honored at the game last night. I go to do AD's thing before the game to kind of see him and check in. It's 21-0. I'm
Oh,
thinking the Eagles are doing awesome. I'm like, all right, here we go. Like Rams have no chance to kind of get to that one spot tonight, but it'll be a
right.
good chance going as the season goes. And then I get out of the event and I'm like, wait, what happened? It's 21-21. So I'm in the same boat. Here's what I would say. I think that sometimes you see this in a guy who's had as much success and you think of last year, as many explosives as he had. Like he had a lot of huge runs last season and just hasn't been able to find them this year. And sometimes those explosives don't really let us see the whole story of the run game. And so and my point to that is those can really skew the numbers on a per carry basis. And I think this year, without the explosives, one of the things that kind of seems to me, I watched a couple of clips already of even yesterday, just feels like he's searching for some of those explosives instead of just getting every yard out of every run sometimes. And so I'd love to see maybe a little more to me as a running back. Hey, there's a couple
Hmm.
times in a game where you get a chance where you can go in there and try and create a run if you want, but really, man, hitting the hole with speed, with violence, constantly over and over and over again, and almost wearing teams down in that way. And then you have some of those plays where, hey, if something opens up, I'll make a cut, I'll use some vision and go a different direction. I just see some runs there where I'm like, man, I know how athletic and powerful and talented he is. I'd rather see him just literally commit, hit a hole as fast and violent as he can, and get in there and get whatever yards are there. And then let's continue to just batter ram people that way, because you just see some runs where he's slowing down in the hole and trying to look for those big spaces. And I think that to me gives the defense time to react a little bit. And also they've just at times not had it. You look at some of the injuries they've had up front. So I think what you're having happen is it's just a combination of the year of like, hey, we just
Hmm.
continue to not be able to be all on the same page. It's one guy here, one guy there. And then there's some runs where we're looking for too much instead of just getting whatever's there in this run. And so I think to me, you get in those funks in the run game, but all it takes is one game that you get those explosives. But now here we are, we're 12 weeks in, and it just hasn't happened the way they hoped to. And so I think to me, that really tells the story of their season. This run game's got to become something that they can lean on, because in every game we go back and look and say, oh man, we want to throw it more, we want to do this more. I look at it and go, man, I just think the efficiency of the run game is just not there. And that's something that's going to be, it's going to lead you to have these halves where you don't play well because you're not scoring points, because you're running the football 3 times, you're getting 3 yards of carry, you ain't getting first downs, and so that's the reality. So they've got to figure out a way to make this game the run game come back. back and find some of those explosives, but more importantly, find the efficiency in the run game.
And I don't know if they do it against Chicago. Short week. The game is in Philly. Great. That is the Amazon Prime game the day after Thanksgiving. Take me through the dynamic of Thanksgiving with the Amazon crew, with the TNF on Prime crew. It's not your first rodeo. You guys have been together a long time. What are the vibes? Do you guys get in on Thursday and spend Thanksgiving together? What happens?
Yeah, most of us will get in Thursday afternoon, somewhere in there. Some of us come a little early, like myself. I take advantage of every city we get a chance to go to. I want to get an extra day in there, find a reason. Yeah, listen, we have a good time. We're gonna have a blast Thursday night. I'm sure we'll be staying up late as usual, and then getting ready for that Black Friday game. It's gonna be awesome. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I just see Caleb Williams and the Bears in person. Guy has continued to just find ways to create plays and make things happen in games. It's like one moment he's got a play in the end zone where it's a sack fumble and you're just scared, like, what are you doing? And the next moment he's making heroic plays and people are bringing pressures and he's continuing to ad lib and just extend plays. He's a fun guy to watch right now. And really one of the things you see that jumps off is from last year to this year. I think people said, hey, you won't be able to do that in college like you did in college. You won't be able to extend these plays. People are going to bring pressures. They're going to get you on the ground. And I would say his answer this year has been, yes, I can still do that. And I think that that's the reality. You've seen growth out of him in this Ben Johnson offense. You've seen this team under Ben Johnson look strong, but also you've seen he can still be Caleb Williams, who we saw at USC extending plays and making things happen after the play breaks down as well. And so I think it's going to be fun to watch them go against this Eagles team. It's perfect timing for them. This Eagles team coming off of a loss, a bad one in the sense of being up as much as they were against Dallas. And of course, it's the Dallas Cowboys they hate to lose to. They're going to probably get a pretty angry Eagles team, but also one that the reality is there's been some dissension. And so what kind of team are we going to get, and how does this game start probably leads to how the Chicago Bears have a chance to whether or not to win this thing.
It's Eagles Bears in Philly on Prime. You're covering that Black Friday game between them. It was so interesting to hear all of this. And I'm thinking, I really like watching Caleb, and I'm from Chicago. I like just watching. It's fun to watch him learn. I think I see the game differently now at this point in my career, where it's like, gosh, it's really fun I like that he's not flawless. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's not,
Yes. And okay, this offensive line,
that.
hey, don't forget this line too as well. There's some clips in this Steelers game just this week of them getting after people. They've had some awesome plays. I think of the Darnell Wright play against the Cincinnati Bengals. You think of some Jonah Jackson, some clips he's got on tape right now. They play with some violence, man. It's been fun to watch this group. So I'm excited to see them go against the one narrative people have with the Bears is like, who have they beat? Who have they really beat that's really good? It's a good quality win to beat the Steelers. But this week, this is one that they can hang on the mantle and say, hey, this season isn't just us having a bunch of comebacks playing against teams that you think that we have a chance against. We can go against the best in the league and prove our mantle. And I think it's going to be part of what this group is going to be that way, is because this offensive line. They've protected Caleb really well, and they have been violent on tape. I love watching
Chicago needs to hear this. They're violent on tape because maybe Ryan Poles deserves some credit here for overhauling an offensive line. Up front, they made such huge investments in the line.
They did. I mean, you look at Joe Thuney coming in, Jonah Jackson from the Rams, that was a one-year experiment in LA. It just didn't work out, really how things kind of fell to them. And so they end up sending him to the Bears. Thuney comes in. Now Dahlman from Atlanta. I mean, I think when you look at this group, the way Darnell Wright's continued to grow and improve, I think that's really been impressive. And I think that, there's an attitude that they play with. And you can tell that's probably driven by their head coach, Ben Johnson, who was playing, obviously had his most success in Detroit with that offensive line. And I'm sure he's trying to bring that identity and mentality to this group. And I think that's why they're fun to watch, because you see some guys that have the talent and ability, but also, man, they put some fun clips on tape, some stuff that they can send home to mama. That's for sure. I always say Darnell Wright's clip against the Cincinnati Bengals, and it hurt my heart because it's the Bengals. But man, that one right there, he'll show his grandkids. He'll show everybody for the next 50 years. So they've got some fun stuff on tape, and they play with an attitude. I love watching them play. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in person.
If I could transport into any locker room after a win, and there's great celebrations, half the league wins every Sunday, whatever it is, it would be Chicago. It looks like such a good time. Ben is an 11 out of 10 maniac. I always find myself looking and searching for on this 4-game win streak they have, and they're sitting here at 8-3. It's unbelievable. Watching the vibe, the body language, what it looks like to gain more confidence week in, week out. and I love to see it. Do you think Caleb's the best? Is Caleb the best quarterback in that division
Oh
right
man,
now?
no, I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback in the division yet. I think we got to see some
Crazy though. Crazy. That's a
sustained but
conversation.
hey, that it is that I mean, it is where it's gone in 1 year is awesome. I look at it, and even when Ben Johnson got hired, I was looking at this one as similar to when I came in with Sean McVay after
Hmm.
Jared Goff's year. And so it's the impact of a guy who's a really successful coordinator, a elite dude, seems like he's going to have an awesome culture. A quarterback his rookie year who probably, obviously Caleb had a better year than maybe Jared did, but just wasn't maybe the impact that people thought he'd be. And now you need somebody that's in your ear, believes in you, and can create something around you as a winner. I look at that as the same. And so I was really interested to see if they'd have something similar to we did in 2017 in that sense of having success. Theirs has been a much different way, the Caleb Williams way, if you will, just chaotic experience.
Hmm.
But Ben Johnson looks locked in that way. Like he truly believes in what it is that he thinks his philosophy and coaching is, the identity that he's going to create on his football team. And I see after wins, what I love the most, and it reminds me of Sean at that age. There's not like a joyous relief that we won. There is like you know what, you damn right, that's how we played today. Like it's like
Yeah.
that attitude. And I think to me, that tells me this dude believes in what he's coaching. He thinks his players are buying into it. And there's a confidence there that they're building something special. And what it becomes this year, we'll see. But I think moving forward, they feel confident about the way the organization is moving.
If I'm you on that, I know you guys do the post game, all that. I'm finding a way to get into the locker room if they win against the Eagles. I just would want to feel you
Send
got
me with
win.
a
I
good
know,
time.
I
Come
know
on
it's
now.
not easy for you to sneak in anywhere. You're pretty tall, but I would try to weasel my way in there and be like, just to be a fly on the wall if they beat the Eagles. Like it's hard to wrap my head around, but I hope it happens.
Yeah,
And
you
if they
think Sean
do,
Payton, what Sean Payton did the drive, down the middle of the streets in Philly. Who
yeah.
knows what the Bears might do? I mean, listen, it's Black Friday, it's a holiday. You know what? We'll see. I'm sure they'll be
Wait,
celebrating in a big way. This will be the biggest one they've had all year if they do it.
were the Bears on your contender list? They weren't in the end. If they beat the Eagles, will they be on that list? Will they be on Wish list?
If they beat the Eagles, I will definitely put them on the list. They'll be in the contender
Wow.
list. I don't think that they're going to be on the final list, though. And what I mean by that is, I think to me right now, I look at the Seahawks and the Rams, and I wish the Niners were healthy because right
Mm.
now I really see that the Seahawks and Rams are the two best teams in the NFC and maybe even the NFL. And I really think it's going to come down to those two teams in the NFC, which one stays healthy. Whichever one can stay healthy, I think is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.